We love you guys so much. We had to go live. I don't care. The Yankees play in what? 12 hours? We don't care. We do not care. That's what we always talk about. That's what Mike Tomlin said. But welcome in, Yankees Unloaded. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. Today is a topic we're going to be talking about Spencer Jones. I feel like I woke. Why were they playing at like 9 a.m. today? I woke up and the Spencer Jones had 2 home runs already. I was like, what's going on here?
It was weird. I was wondering why you were texting me about it. I thought you just had old news. And then all of a sudden my phone buzzed and it was like,
he just kept hitting home runs.
Right. It's ridiculous.
I don't know, Gary. It was definitely a weird moment. 13 homers in 19 AAA games. He hit 3 today. That's right. I didn't speak like crazy. Like he hit 3 today. Ben Rice is gaining interest around the league as a catcher per Joel Sherman. The Yankees are getting plenty of calls about him as well as MLB pitchers. That was not specified, but I'm assuming Will Warren, maybe Clark Schmidt, maybe Cam Schlittler. Are they calling him an MLB pitcher? I don't know, but that's what they're doing. The Pirates, they called about Carlos LaGrange, who's now in the top 100 MLB pipeline. The Mariners acquired Josh Naylor when I was in the theater. I freaked out, Gary. I come out of the theater after seeing Fantastic Four. I open my phone. I see breaking, and I'm like, my heart just drops. I'm like, no. And then it's not the Yankees. Yeah.
I know.
So, that's always my thing. But there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about in the theater. I apparently totally missed until pretty recently. O'Neal Cruz is a player that the Yankees have called about. Interesting. We'll see if that does, there's anything to that. The Padres let us know that Dylan Cease is available. They'd actually like to trade Dylan Cease for outfield depth and starting pitching. And the Yankees are interested, as well as almost the entire AL East. The Diamondbacks are all over the Yankee farm system right now, per Andy Martino. And the Yankees are more reluctant than ever to include Spencer Jones in deals now. So it's a lot of stuff we just threw at you, but we're going to do what we do best and analyze it. Gary, where would you like to start?
Well, first and foremost, I did just interview Randy Miller, and that interview will go live tomorrow morning. We also have some great guests to announce. We're very excited, of course, and we'll do that when they're scheduled. But I found this O'Neal Cruz situation interesting because, of course, when I was talking to Randy, you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, what is Brian Cashman after? And for the most part, most of what we heard is control. Control. If we're going to get a player and that player is a rental, I'm not giving you a ton for that. That should be the status quo. And that's been how Brian Cashman works. But if I'm going to get a player that's under contract, and there's a few out there, Hayes, right, McMahon, well, some of these guys are making some real coin. You're not bringing that in unless you think that player can be on the Yankees for the next 2 or 3 seasons. So it's a major commitment. It's not just what can he do in 2025, but now he becomes your problem if you don't fix him in this year. So I just think that was interesting. And I'm not sure, how do you feel about this O'Neal Cruz thing? Because I don't love it. I'll be completely honest with you. What he's good at isn't exactly what we're missing. So how did you feel about it?
I mean, I have to sit here and ask myself, if they're interested in O'Neal Cruz, does that have anything to do with Anthony Volpe? Like, hear me out. He started at shortstop, and he's got a cannon for an arm, right? And he's got range. But the issue was, it was the errors he was making with the arm, right? He's got a cannon, but it's very similar to Ellie De La Cruz. It's kind of all over the place, right? He's kind of a point-and-shoot guy. No idea where it's going to go. But obviously, it's a lot better in the outfield when you don't have as much pressure on you. When you're in the infield, you really have to, have things be accurate, right? So I like O'Neal Cruz a lot. But that being said, I'm with you. I'm a little indifferent on this one. I don't know how to feel. I mean, if you get O'Neal Cruz last year, 2020 guy, and he's able to play shortstop and he replaces Volpe and does a decent job, because right now Volpe has lowered the bar enough where I would take a mediocre shortstop defensively, even a below average shortstop, move Cruz there. If he could do that at an average or a little bit below average clip with the speed, with the potential power, all of that, I think that could be a legit play here. And that's why I'm almost wondering, is Volpe included in this deal? Because
I don't know about that. It just feels like this player,
because it just doesn't make any sense.
Look at all the comparisons when people are talking about Spencer Jones. And Spencer Jones right now is our most MLB ready prospect, clearly.
Yeah.
And the one gripe that everybody has is the 40% strikeout rate, right? And that does matter. That's clearly a flaw that he has to work on. But then suddenly you fast forward to 3 or 4 days later and they go, oh no, Spencer Jones, here's his flaw and you guys should take it serious. But we're going to turn to the left here and we're going to maybe trade for a player who last season, and by the way, he hit 259 and you think, okay, well, that's highly serviceable, especially for a guy who can run. And you mentioned all the numbers he provided. Well, you know, another number he provided, 181 strikeouts. So he is a big swing and miss candidate, and it hasn't improved. He's struck it out 123 times this year. So I think that matters when it comes to talent. Yes, the exit velocity is off the charts. I do see it in the comment section. I am reading those. But it's not all about exit velocity. It's exit velocity and then what, right? Where are the holes in your game, and can we actually survive those holes? Is it a fit? I just don't see this. I understand he's very talented, but what was so interesting to me on the back end of what you said was Ben Rice. A lot of people on the outside of this organization want Ben Rice. And I think if you're honest, he's a good player. He just doesn't fit. And I think we can all be honest in terms of position. He's not the best first baseman, right? He's an okay catcher, serviceable, but I do think it's a little odd to bite off the apple of a player long-term that's not going to be above average defensively at his position. That's a little odd. And if you're going to do that, you better rake consistently. You need to be wildly above league average offensively with consistency for me to justify putting you there. And the Yankees do have defensive options in Austin Wells, who does a better job, at least defensively, where I would be comfortable doing so. So I thought that was interesting. I think Major League Baseball around the league is sort of locating. The Yankees have surpluses at different positions. Maybe we can take advantage of that and help them solve their problems as well.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting here about Ben Rice. And it's kind of good for him because you know he has a spot in this league if the Yankees just decide they don't want him anymore. And if you like Ben Rice, you got to root for that, right? He might not be around forever, but this is a guy who has a spot in the league. And clearly, if they're calling about him as a catcher, and Joel Sherman confirmed that, although I also forgot to mention the Yankees are reluctant to trade away Ben Rice, which I find very interesting. They're reluctant to trade away Ben Rice. They're reluctant to trade away Spencer Jones. I feel like maybe in this mix, we're not really talking or addressing the elephant in the room, Jason Dominguez. Because when you look at the lack of defense and the lack of power right now, and I like Jason Dominguez a lot. I can
feel the pearls already being clutched.
But doesn't it feel like, maybe he's the surprise that kind of goes out the door, and maybe they decide, you know what? Defense matters. You can't sit there and tell me it doesn't. You can't sit there and tell me the defense matters and then send out Jason Dominguez, right? So it's interesting, especially with Grisham being a free agent next year. You could also see Grisham being traded. We talked about it off air, the Padres, right? And we'll get to that more. But Dylan Cease, they want to trade Dylan Cease. That is the report. They would like to trade Dylan Cease for a starting pitcher and outfield depth.
Yeah, this is a rental. Again, another player I asked Randy Miller about, and the Yankees are definitely knocking on this door. Now, mind you, knocking on the door doesn't mean it's going to be answered. And also, we have no idea how hard they're knocking on that door. They could just walk up and tap on it and walk off, and then we just run with it. But at the same time, we don't exactly get any indication. Very similar to what you guys saw out of Giancarlo Stanton. We didn't get a ton of information. Then all of a sudden, he was in pinstripes. That's just how the trade market goes. So when I'm looking at this, obviously we see Brian with the super. Brian, thank you for investing in Yankees Unloaded. Greatly appreciated.
You,
says, I don't know if any trade helps. The issues stem deeper than a third baseman or pitching. You must change the culture of no accountability and no fundamentals. So obviously Brian is discussing our manager in Aaron Boone. He's discussing Brian Cashman, really all at once. Hal Steinbrenner. Well, guys, I understand that there are overhanging issues that the Yankees can't solve in the short term, but just because the Yankees have a leadership issue, you're not just going to go into the deadline and say, well, we just can't fix it. There's a cancer over the top of our head. That's just not the way this business works. And Brian, we've also discussed, and this seems very important, probably more important than anything else, there aren't great teams around the league. There just isn't. The team that's going to be popping champagne this year is not going to be a great team. They're probably going to be the hottest team come October. And that's going to be how we describe them. Now, can we be that? I don't know. You can absolutely argue that it could, but we have to have a monstrous deadline. Monstrous. You can't look at third base and say, well, it's still a problem. You can't look at Anthony Volpe and say he's still playing like Anthony Volpe. You can't look at Jason Dominguez and he's still trying to flag down fly balls and he's looking the way he's looking, right? You can't look at Ben Rice and say they can't find a place for him. He's going to sit 2 days in a row and then now try to give you an output. Those things can't be problems by the end of the season, and we're going to find out very quickly if they're going to be. And I think Brian Cashman and how he does his business this deadline is going to tell you what he really thinks about the team. Don't listen to words out of his mouth. Watch the trades that are executed over the next 6 days.
I think the thing that was really fascinating is Naylor being traded today, because I feel like everyone's kind of waiting. It's like a, kind of the blinking game, like who blinks first, and then eventually the floodgates open. And obviously the majority of the trades will be on the 31st. Let's not kid ourselves. We're not about to get an influx of trades tomorrow, but you might see a trade or two. And the Yankees are known for trading earlier than the deadline. They've done that many times, so it's going to be interesting because I think we're getting closer to the point. I mean, within the next 2 days, I would say, we probably get something. And
yeah, can I actually use this super chat, by the way? Because I want to skip backwards here.
Of course. Because
you mentioned Jason Dominguez, right?
Yes.
And of course, you're aware of his strengths. Mm-hmm. And some of those strengths have something to do with the super chat. So Big Ant New York City with the 5,
Appreciate
thank you. Says people keep forgetting that Jason Dominguez is only 22 years old. He's batting .280 from the left side, obviously very highly serviceable there. And he needs consistent reps to improve his defense. So I just want to bring this to your guys' attention, because when people say that he needs reps to improve, you have to ask yourself, what's his home position? And Jake, you brought this up about 2 weeks ago, and you said center field. He was developed as a center fielder when he was 16, 17 years old, and we first heard of him in this system. He was a center fielder, right? And before he was even an international signing, he was a center fielder. And yet, right at the end of his development in the minor leagues, suddenly he's kicked out into the corner. Why did that happen? I think, Jake, they realize he's just not that good of a defender. That's what they realize. Now, mind you, people say, well, if he just plays a lot, he's going to get better. Well, how many players in the league came into Major League Baseball as a young player, were a horrendous fielder, which he is, horrendous, and suddenly they became anything better than league average? To be honest with you, it doesn't happen very often where a player is bad at what they do and suddenly it becomes good. I think the last time I saw it was like Jason Kidd suddenly in the last year of his career became a good 3-point shooter.
Yeah, it's...
So, mind you, what Jake is saying is the Yankees are saying their biggest priority is defense. Their biggest priority is fundamentals. Your top prospect, it eludes him. So, Jake, I don't think it's a fit. I really don't. I like Jason Dominguez, but I'm not telling you guys he's chopped liver or he sucks. No, he's a good player. But what he fails at, we also need to fix. He doesn't help us fix that. Now, of course, there are going to be a lot of people who say, well, why would I get rid of him? That's kind of compounding the problem, and he provides something that's hard to find. I just don't agree. I simply don't agree. I think Jason Dominguez, we could replenish his talent in the offseason if they really wanted to. If Jason Dominguez suddenly, he's going to net you a ton on the trade market, whether it be a starting pitcher, whether it be a third baseman, you're going to pretty much get what you want using him. And you're going to find a player who fits your bill, but you can also go into the offseason and say, hey, bring Kyle Tucker in. Now, mind you, I'm not saying we're going to get him, but Kyle Tucker is already a better player than Jason Dominguez, and he's a better player than Jason Dominguez will be. If Jason Dominguez somehow passes a player who's great at defense, his arm is great, his accuracy is great, he's a contact bat, he doesn't strike out, he's clutch. If he's better than a future Hall of Famer, then you just sort of say, all right, well, I guess we lost that trade. But, Jake, Jason Dominguez, he shouldn't be traded because you think he sucks. The only way you trade him is if you think you get back equal value for a player that fits this team better. That is the only way you trade this player, and that's what we're saying.
Yeah, it's interesting because normally I like the younger player, the homegrown player, and I still really like Dominguez. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's like I see a lot, well, he'll be the DH after Giancarlo. We don't know when that'll be. Giancarlo could be the DH for the next 3 years. We don't know.
Why would we want, by the way, a designated hitter? You can justify Jason Dominguez being a DH at 25. Do we want a DH for the next 15 years?
Well, and also that hurts Judge. That hurts Judge. That hurts Bellinger. These are guys that might need to be DH down the road. So, actually, you know how like they do, I'm not saying the Yankees do this, but a lot of teams do this where they're like, he can't really help us how we want him to. He's a good player and he could help our team, but they get picky and for the right reasons. And then they're like, well, if he can only be a DH, he's not as valuable as, say, somebody else we can bring in to replace him. And I'm going to actually bring up the idea I had to you earlier today.
Yeah, go ahead.
Steven Kwan. Okay. It's unlikely. I don't know if I really buy that he's available, but it's out there that they're listening to offers on Steven Kwan. Now, listening is a lot different than you're getting calls, okay? Listening means you're picking up the phone and you're considering. You're actually weighing your options. The Guardians are a weird team right now. Like, you got Cade Smith, you got, Clase. I don't think Jose Ramirez gets traded, but you have him as well. And you have Steven Kwan. And there are other guys that I didn't mention. But the point being, Steven Kwan is a Gold Glove left fielder, but like actually Gold Glove, not just like, oh yeah, he's a Gold Glove. No, he's fantastic. He's got an elite arm. He's got great athleticism. He's got a 340 to 360 every year on base percentage. He's 27. He had 3 years of control, 4 years of control. You mentioned control. Steven Kwan would be the leadoff hitter for the Yankees for the next 3 to 4 years. So you're telling me you have Kwan, Bellinger, Judge? Find me a better top 3
it would be
than
pretty
that
good
right now.
And it's more so not even about Steven Kwan. It's really not that. It's more so about whatever players are going to be a part of your 3 in the outfield. Are they good defenders? Can they field their positions?
Yeah.
Do you want to see more players where you're like, he's got to work at this? Because I'll tell you right now, if we want to go where we're going to go, which is a World Series, that's our goal. That player is going to have to be out there for 162 games. Do you want to see Jason Dominguez in the outfield for 162? And people say, well, no. His bat is what we're waiting on. To improve, it's been good. It definitely has been good. But to take that next step, and you're talking about it needs to be all-star quality to make up for the glove. Well, people say, well, I think that'll happen. And I would agree. I think it does. But is that what the Yankees need? Because I feel like Jason Dominguez right now, in a way, is sort of the same build as Suarez, right? Suarez is a player that's going to rake. He's going to hit. Obviously, he's much further down his career. But the point is offensively, he's a solution. Defensively, he's a subtraction. More so about fit than just in a vacuum looking at the talent. Steven Kwan, on the other hand, he's the type of player that if he plays on a team where they're not really slugging, he might not do a whole lot in terms of value to the team. But you have to remember, Cody Bellinger is another player that no one really wanted past a 3 or 4 year contract. There's a reason for that. A lot of it was because these players are judged in a vacuum. They say, how many home runs can he hit for me? How many times can he drive in a run, right? How many times can he steal a base? But when you look at players like Steven Kwan, when there's enough talent around them, they can do all the little stuff where you can turn around and say, yeah, my team, they're fundamental. He is a master of the fundamentals. He's one of the best defensive left fielders in the game. So, yeah, we're not going to get Steven Kwan. It's probably highly unlikely. But this is the type of mentality the Yankees should have. Bringing in players that are better fits for your team. They may not stack up well against, say, a Kyle Tucker this offseason, but it needs to work for what you suck at. That player needs to excel at it.
Yeah, and by the way, this is Jason. I thought you would find this interesting. This is Jason Dominguez's. We found it. We found it, Gary. We see all these. I told you. We see all these graphs everywhere and all these like graphics, but finally, prospectsavant.com is a real thing. And this is Jason Dominguez in the minors. Now look at Spencer Jones. Interesting. So Spencer Jones, I'm going to tell you right now, look at the thing that really stands out to me, and I know the river of blood here stands out to me, but
of course,
you see the walk percentage. Mm-hmm. This is getting underrated. I'm calling this out right now. Okay. So look at Jason Dominguez. Look at what he has become in working counts, getting on base, right? Mm-hmm. And
takes great. He
wasn't even that guy. He wasn't that guy in the minors. Now, look at Spencer Jones. And they praised this kid for his work ethic, you know, and not just his work ethic off the field, like in drills and practice and all that, but on the field as well. And that's why, you know, this 6'7", 240 behemoth is running in the 85th percentile in speed, which is just gnarly stuff. So really, this is kind of who is going against who. I don't think they're trading away. I really don't think they're trading away Trent Grisham.
If they're trading away either Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez, mind you, just people floating these ideas, I think if anyone's traded at the deadline of the mainstays, it's Ben Rice. Jason Dominguez, on the other hand, I don't think any player of that magnitude would ever be dealt. Same with Spencer Jones until the winter. I just can't see, because that's when most big trades are executed, because you're talking about a prerequisite for this trade is I'm getting a player with control. I am going to tee up the perfect deal. And that tends to be when Brian Cashman actually brings in star power via trade, is in the winter. So I'm going to assume Spencer Jones, and he's going nowhere. I see that as well. Completely agree. You just have to ask the simple question. Mm-hmm. What is this player good at? What is he all right at? And what's he bad at? The whiff rate is not good. It is not good, right? So you have to ask yourself, is that a deal breaker for you in this lineup to bring in somebody who's going to have the swing and miss? They're going to draw their walks. And when they make contact, it's going to be an explosion. Also, don't forget, seemingly more important, what about the glove? What did we hear from Jack Curry? What did we hear from all of Yes Network? Well, defense. They trust him in center field. They trust him in left and right field. They think, matter of fact, and this is a quote, he can be a gold glover at all three positions wherever they play him. Did you ever hear that about Jason Dominguez? No. Now, again, this is not a way to pick on Jason Dominguez. What it's a way to essentially identify he could be a part of the solution we're looking for. It's just going to take some time for him to get here. Now, when he gets called up, Jake, I tend to agree. I feel like he's going to get called up in September. Trent Grisham is still giving them a solid output. I think the Yankees right now, if they did call up a Spencer Jones, it's a risk to them because, A, you bring him up here. If there's any growing pains whatsoever, we're falling behind in this division. We just are. So this is a tough decision for the Yankees. And I think the decision that they make is to leave Trent Grisham on this roster and play him.
Yeah, so my thing is, I was telling you earlier today, I think he's made too much noise. I think we could actually see him get called up very soon. August 1st would be my guess right now, after the trade deadline. That's when they called up, Aaron Judge. It's when they've called up guys in the past. August 1st seems like when they would call him up, and it would be very simply put, like, hey, we're going to give you some opportunities. We're going to let you, run wild in certain circumstances, but he's not going to be an everyday player. But it's to the point where he's too good not to play. And I think, like, if he translates immediately and he's just hitting bombs, he'll stay in the lineup and they'll figure it out, right? But
what if he doesn't?
If he struggles, then he struggles. Like, you gotta let him fail. You gotta let him succeed. You gotta let him. They
just don't want to do that in a season where you're falling behind. And like I was saying before, if they were up 5 games in the division, they would probably feel like, okay, well, we can just get Trent Grisham. Hey, thanks for getting us here or helping us do that. But we've got something big here. But when you're 4.5 games back, Toronto keeps winning. You don't have an opportunity for him to show up and have a slow 2.5 weeks. He's got to be a contributor. And I think the one justification that is in your, I would say in your basket here, Jake, is that the one thing that is going to be brought to the table is the glove, the speed.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so that to me is enticing. It is. But then it really begs to question, what are they doing with the other outfielders? If he gets up here, you're not sitting Trent Grisham. The player you'd be sitting is Jason Dominguez, by the way, because Jason Dominguez is not a glove. That's why the Yankees are losing games. So really what we're arguing here, we're not arguing to trade Jason Dominguez. We're just telling you guys, if he ends up traded, know why. He's traded because this team, which is horrible fundamentally, has a player who's horrible fundamentally, but he's a good player because he can hit. Well, the Yankees have to find more players Cody Bellinger-esque. A player where a ball's laced out to him and you say, I trust him, he's going to make the right decision. That has to be the play. Big picture guys with the 2 says, I trust Rice's, just Ben Rice, over Jones' ability to stick in the majors. Now, mind you, I think all of us understand Ben Rice is a mainstay. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not valued by the whole league.
Right. So I mean, I'm looking at this player in Ben Rice. You just have to ask, where does he play? It doesn't matter what you think about his at-bats or if he can stay in the major leagues. Where is he playing? And someone says, well, I would like him to catch. Okay, well, do you think the Yankees are going to say, all right, Austin Wells, sit down. Go sit down. JC, we agree he'll probably be traded. But are the Yankees going to clear the deck for him at catcher? I don't see it happening.
No, I think that it's interesting. Like I've been saying for a while, I think JC Escar is getting traded. That's what I feel confident in. I think if you traded Grisham, probably makes the most sense right now, considering the problem that they have. But it also doesn't make sense for a team that's trying to win now and win a World Series, if you think about it like that. So there's also that. But I feel like, I don't know, Gary. I think when you look at just how this roster is shaped up, there's a lot of spots they can open up, as far as bats. Peraza, Bibas, JC Escar, right there. That's 3 spots that they can just open up. And I think one of those guys is going to be Brian Hayes. I think one of those guys will be Spencer Jones. And then the other one is who they like more between Peraza and Bibas.
Yeah, and by the way, this comment right here, this is exactly why the Yankees have a problem. Yeah. You can't have a backup catcher / first baseman. That's not a position. That's not a position. If you look at players across baseball and you say that's a great player, that's a really good player, look across the league. Look at all of them. And you say, well, what position does he play? You can just spit it out. He plays there every day. For the most part, the good players in baseball, their team just finds a consistent place for them to play. But based on our roster construction, Ben Rice has nowhere to play consistently. He's not playing first base. He's not that much better than Paul Goldschmidt, if better at all. He's not. As a total package, Paul Goldschmidt's a better player. So, what, I'm supposed to sit Paul Goldschmidt down? What is Goldie hitting, by the way?
He's hitting in the 280s, high 280s.
He's hitting in the high 280s. Our entire team says he's our best situational hitter. He can run the bases. He's our best fielder by far at first base. Not even close, really. And what, you're going to play Ben Rice there? No, the answer is that you could potentially play Ben Rice there in 2026. But we're trying to find an answer for 2025, and this just doesn't help.
I mean, Ben Rice is the only one that I've seen throw out anybody, it seems like, this year from catcher. So, I mean, Ben Rice is a better player right now than Austin Wells. And,
of course,
I just think people don't want to hear it because they have this kind of worry like, oh, all this workload, it's going to be a lot on him. Well, if he can do it for 1 year, hold out 1 year, he'll be the first baseman next year, potentially, or maybe they just need to move him to catcher. Like, to be honest with you, right? Because if they move him to catcher and he can do it, well, now you got a guy who's capable of hitting 30 home runs at catcher. He's going to hit 240, and he's going to give you an OPS over 800. And he's a guy that's just getting better and better. You see it. So I feel like at some point or another, I feel like you gotta either decide, you gotta plant your flag on Ben Rice, or maybe you do have to trade him. I personally would not trade him. I would play him at catcher, and I like Austin Wells, but keep in mind, Gary, what he hit in July last year, I forgot, but he hit over 300 in August, and he was starting to creep up in, I think, the 280 range in July.
Can I ask a question though about Austin Wells? How good of a catcher is he? I'm not talking about the framing. I'm talking about the blocking. We know about the throwing. The throwing is not good. He's not throwing out anybody. Here's actually my solution. I would trade Ben Rice, and I'll tell you why. I think given what his strong suit is, the Yankees could just simply replace it very easily on the market. Everyone's telling me that we want to resign Cody Bellinger. I've heard that a million times. Well, you know where else Cody Bellinger can play easily? He was drafted there, first base. Right? And so the Yankees right now have a surplus in the outfield. Why should I be worried? And mind you, not trading because I don't think he's good. He doesn't fit this roster at all. He just doesn't. And mind you, not that good of a first baseman. So what it means long term, Ben Rice has to rake. It needs to be 280 with 30 plus homers for me to say, yeah, I'm not going to fill, to Jeff Jay's point here, we need a true third baseman. And people want a good third baseman. Not just a fill-in, right? Two reliable relievers. And when he says reliable, he means good relievers, highly capable, right? And another innings eater, so mentioning a starting pitcher. Trade Rice, Dominguez, Trent, and some minor players for what we need. Essentially saying, we have talent just in the wrong spot. Now we can exchange that talent, acknowledge they're talented, and find talent in positions where we struggle. We are horrible at shortstop, third base, and in relief. We still need another arm on the mound as terms of the starting pitcher. So I really like the idea. It's so difficult to even introduce these ideas because people think, oh, you just don't want Ben Rice. Then Ben Rice hits 2 home runs. They're like, see, that's why you don't trade him. It's not about what he can do with the bat. It's it's the fact that he can't fit anywhere. We can't give him a role. There's no role here for you.
But see, that's where I disagree. Because look at Austin Wells. Look at his season. It's like, and I know this is the guy I went to bat for, but he's regressed. Like, he's hitting 216. He has a 272 on base. He hits a lot of home runs.
It's about
catcher. Big deal.
It's about the glove. That's what they're worried about. Ben Rice can't catch. No, it's not. So then you can essentially say, maybe the Yankees just don't have a catcher on their roster.
I'd take the drop off in Ben Rice. If I would rather have him in the lineup, I think it makes the Yankees a better team. And when you look, you see, the blocks above average. I'm not saying, Austin Wells isn't great, but caught stealing above average is below average, right? The framing is really what we're talking about, okay? But Austin Wells, compared to Ben Rice, that is not bad. And he's got the best pop time. He's just not, of course, qualified. But he's got the best pop time in the league. And he's about an average, slightly above average catcher, potentially.
Yeah, it's about how good they think he is back there.
I would rather roll with Rice. I think when he's giving you all this stuff here, and he can actually get on base at a 323 clip as opposed to 270. 270 is not even major league.
No, I understand. We're not comparing Ben Rice to Austin Wells. That's not what we're doing. No, Ben Rice, it's about because mind you, people are saying trade Trade Austin Wells. Austin Wells isn't giving. He's not netting you a star player with control.
No, I'm saying Austin Wells because we expected him, or at least I did. I know you were a little bit. You
I was
moved
definitely
on
down on him, but I have warmed up to the concept.
Yeah. And look, I'm not trying to be flip-floppy here, but I'm just going based on what he's shown us. He showed us potential last year. He could have won Rookie of the Year, fell off a cliff, right? We had a great July, fantastic August, forgot how to play baseball in September, October. Mm-hmm. Now we're looking at a guy who can't get on base anymore, okay? And his slugging percentage has gone up from last year, but he doesn't throw anybody out. So he is no longer, Gary, in my opinion, a starting catcher. He's a guy that he was when he was splitting time with Jose Trevino. That is who he is. And to me, I have no reason to push Ben Rice out if I don't have, a Buster Posey at catcher. I feel like he could slide in there. And maybe it's a committee, but because you need two catchers on the roster, then that's just the way it is. But
you can probably justify putting a defensive specialist behind the plate for the Yankees and Ben Rice being traded to net you something great at a position of need. Austin Wells isn't netting you jack. Nothing.
No. I mean, I'm saying to keep them both.
I understand. I want to keep these players. I want to keep Ben Rice. If I could accommodate third base and I can keep Ben Rice, then great. Because if I can do that, then next year I get to take a flyer at first base long term. Okay, great. But then if you do that, you are also parting with prospects rather than Ben Rice. And it's not going to be prospects at the bottom of your system. It's going to be at the top. So that's my thought process. It's more about fitting the pieces around each other. I don't think Austin Wells can hold a candle to Ben Rice. I don't think anybody would argue that. I mean, what are we doing? But he's more of what the Yankees are already good at, which is we're going to take maybe a slight regression defensively because there's no way that Ben Rice long-term would be as good at catcher as Austin Wells. Because if he was, he would just be starting every day at catcher. There would be no justification whatsoever for Austin Wells to even touch a glove if Ben Rice was just a better catcher. He's hardly caught this year.
Yeah, hardly. And when he's caught, I mean, he's caught some good games and he's called some good games. And
yes, he has. How many games has he caught? 4?
Probably something like that. But,
4 games.
But at the same time, he's looked good behind the plate and he's actually thrown guys out. So you're telling me in 4 games he's thrown out more guys than Austin Wells does? That's crazy.
Yeah, the Yankees just clearly think that if instead of a sample size of 4, if we let him start 115 games, that maybe the defense just falls off a cliff. Because remember, they also acted like he was just completely incapable of even attempting to play third base. Right? They even told us that first base was a concern. They were concerned.
Yeah, see, I mean, he's probably a catcher at this point, and I think people need to get, accommodated to that. And I understand they don't want the workload. It's heavy. I don't care. I mean, the way he's hitting the ball, you got to try and find a way to get him in the lineup. The best way is playing him at catcher, and I think that's what they should do. And until, the wheels fall off. If it looks really bad, then you can go back to Austin Wells. But, I mean, I think Ben Rice should be the catcher of the New York Yankees. That's what I do believe.
It's probably worth the attempt. I mean, and mind you,
definitely
it's worth the shot. Because right now, I'll tell you, Austin Wells is not a good enough catcher where you say, we can't force this bat into there. That's what I'm saying. Hitting is not our problem.
Yeah.
But at the same time, these other teams in the league are calling you for a reason. You haven't found a way to fit this guy into your team. Unless the Yankees commit to him full-time at catcher, if people in the chat are going to say first base, Ben Rice might as well just be traded right now. He's not playing first base for this team. It's not happening. Because they're just going to say somebody else needs to.
Yeah, you look at next year, if he's catching, think about the team that they could build with Ben Rice at catcher. Because he'll only get better with more reps. He already has a baseline of at least average, Gary. That's what we're seeing. He's an average catcher. I think he can get better. And that's my thing. Like, he has a good athletic profile. His bat is like crazy analytically, right? So I think this player is just going to continue to get better. And I'm honestly excited for him. And I hope they don't trade him away. I don't think they're going to. I think they're more likely to trade away Jason Dominguez. And the reason why I say that is because nobody's talking about it. It's not mentioned at all. Those are normally the things you have to worry about. It's not necessarily the sourcing, the stuff that comes out. It's normally the stuff that doesn't come out. And you brought this up. No one knew Giancarlo Stanton was going to be a Yankee. That wasn't like Juan Soto, where everyone knew Juan Soto was going to be traded, right? Everyone knew that. And the Yankees were the only team that were willing to take a flyer and to take a rental. But that was that. The thing about Giancarlo is that no one knew, and then when it happened, it was like, oh my God, the Yankees did that? He had just signed like a 14-year deal with the Marlins. Like, no one had expected that. So, yeah, that's my thing, is that I think Jason Dominguez could very well be in play. And I'm not even saying I want to trade him away. I like Jason Dominguez a lot, but I just think the Yankees' good problem to have right now, Spencer Jones, as you were talking about, is a really good defensive outfielder, and Jason Dominguez is not. And this is the tough decisions you have to make ultimately. This is not like any other sport. When you have a minor league and you have, single A, and you have a low A, high A, double A, triple A, you have plenty of information on these guys who have been in your organization, in your building, right? And so I think the big thing, Gary, for me, is that the Yankees are going to have that tough internal discussion. Do we give up on the 22-year-old? Do we trade him away and bring up the 24-year-old because he's a better defender and his power profile is looking absolutely nuts? Or do we go with the fact Jason Dominguez actually plays right now in the MLB? He looks good as a hitter, maybe doesn't have that power yet, can still develop that, but he's not the best fielder, and we're just going to be praying his whole career that he turns into something. And that is the decision the Yankees are going to have to make, not just with Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, but they're going to have to make this all across the board. They're right now probably figuring out who's going to be the catcher. Is Rafael Flores our future? Because he's throwing out guys left and right in Double-A. Well, now he's in Triple-A. But the point being is that they have to plan this stuff out. They're doing it right now with George Lombard Jr. You have to know, because, you say it all the time. Not all prospects are going to hit, and you can't have all the prospects. Yeah, most of them won't. And you can't have them all in the majors. You can't. It's not possible.
Our team is proving that, by the way. You look at our roster, you look at our outfielders. We've got 4 good offensive outfielders. We don't have 3 good. We don't even have 4 good outfielders. We really don't. Jason Dominguez is not an outfielder. He's not an infielder. He is a designated hitter. And people think that his defense is going to go from horrible to elite or just even league average because he got older. He's 22 years old. Defense doesn't get any easier. There aren't players in the league who go from being bad defenders to all of a sudden in the middle of their career, they're like, I'm good at this. No, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't. If a player is horrible, mind you, Anthony Volpe is doing the exact same thing offensively. Is suddenly 10 years from now, he's going to be an elite hitter? No. This is always going to be a problem. And at best, he's going to be league average. So no, I just think right now, you're going to have to, if you keep Jason Dominguez on this team, commit to the fact that he is going to be taking up designated hitter in, 3 years. Yeah. 3 seasons. And Aaron Judge, who, by the way, I'd much rather have at DH, I would much rather protect his health than anything Jason Dominguez is doing. And his value will not be nearly as high 3 years from now. In Jason Dominguez, he will be 25 years old. He will have no control left when you trade him. And a team that's going to be trading for him, if he's hitting, is going to be for big money. And guess what you're going to get for a player on big money who can't field a lick and is a DH? Hardly anything. So that's essentially what I'm telling you guys. Trading players doesn't mean you think they suck. It means you think something else fits the team better. I really like Ben Rice. I hope he stays with this team. I really like him. I really like the kid. I do. And it's a shame that we don't have somewhere long-term. I just wish maybe 2 months ago the Yankees committed to letting him catch, considering the fact that he's a catcher. But now we've sort of committed the fact that he's this corner guy who can kind of split out to catcher. Didn't really do him a service there.
Yeah, it's not. I agree. It's not really doing him a service. Not having a position is not a good problem to have. It just means you don't have a position. It is a problem.
What do you think of these 2 players, by the way?
I was going to say, Aroma's burned into the screen, as you say. Those OLEDs, refresh them, because you're just going to see Aroma
Welcome back.
Thoughts on Emmanuel Rivera and Ramon Urias. Okay, so let's bring up Urias. I like Urias personally. He is on my short list at third base. Very much just kind of one of those guys. He's not gonna, wow you with his Savant page at all. But he's one of those guys, he's gonna hit for average normally, and he's just a solid plug and play guy, right? Like 250, 260, I'm not saying he's my favorite option, but he's a good fielder. I'm not against him, but I mean, where I am. I definitely would like Hayes, but
solid defender. But there are certainly options out there. There are a couple options out there where we can find some gloves at third, but you guys, you're not going to love what they do offensively.
Oh, okay.
There aren't guys that you love what they do at the bat and the glove, because we need as a prerequisite.
Yeah,
when you see fielding run value,
this player.
It better be red hot.
Yeah, I'm not interested in this player at all. I'm sorry if you're related to him, but I'm not. I am not interested in this player at all. Like, hell to the no. I could tell pretty quickly, like, when I see 229, 299 on base percent, 570 OPS, like, I'll take a 570 OPS if it's Ke'Bryan Hayes. I'm not taking it if you're, like, what's the opposite of rivers of blood? Is it just a blue sky? It's just blue. It's just blue.
The Titanic.
Everywhere.
And I agree with this, by the way. Antifreeze with the 5. This is sort of goes back to the concept of what the Dodgers do. I know that a lot of rankings say that they have the best system. I personally don't care who has the best system. I care who can utilize their system the best, who's most effective in utilizing their system. And this is a great point from Antifreeze. Thank you again for the 5 and getting involved with Yankees Unloaded. And by the way, guys, if you're not subscribed to Yankees Unloaded, make sure you do so. We are giving away a jersey at 10,000 subscribers. We just eclipsed 8K. Thank you guys for all the 8,000 who have subscribed and supported us already. And of course, liking the video. It says great front offices are able to mix youth and veteran talent. This is absolutely true. Also able to identify their guys to build with. Something the Yankees must figure out. So mind you, the Yankees are currently trying to find their guys. Anthony Volpe was in that inner circle. He was a part of this new, not a core 4, but he was supposed to be a mainstay that was going to be here for the next decade and a half. It clearly didn't work out. So now it feels like the Yankees have a year and a half, a year-long window of a reset here. Spencer Jones now part of the new fold. And you're starting to see other prospects come in, new blood, right? George Lombard Jr. And I was talking to Randy Miller again earlier, and he was saying, well, it seems a little silly to shift George Lombard Jr. to third base when given what Anthony Volpe's doing, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
So when you look at this is a great point. We have to find youth. We have to find young players that are going to work out. You can't have everyone be veterans. Not everybody can be making $13 million and be in left, center, right, and short and third. That's just not the way baseball works. Even the $350 million teams, they've got young players, young assets somewhere. Not everywhere, but somewhere. And especially the teams that are perennial contenders, which I think all of us want at the end. So I will say, yes, I think the Yankees can get young, but perhaps getting young is going to happen in the infield. George Lombard Jr., we've got some options as well in the infield. We're probably going to keep a Jazz Chisholm. Cody Bellinger, if he's re-signed, I'd probably shift him to the infield, given if some players are traded. But there are a lot of so many choices for the Yankees. So many choices can go right. They can also go very wrong for this team.
Oh,
and
man.
I can guarantee you, given who we are and what Yankees fans are, we are going to sit here in hindsight and see which players work out where with our team or not, or with another organization. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I just want to say we're so back, like we never left. I am actually in on Royce Lewis again.
Oh, you're back on this?
I am back on Royce Lewis, and here's why. Okay, every Yankee fan on social media, not everyone, but it feels like a lot of them think Willie Castro's like good. I don't know. He's not. Like, he's a utility guy, and they'll use that as an argument to trade for him.
It's like Kepler. Remember that?
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on him. God,
you guys want Kepler? No, anything else, actually.
No, like, literally, like, if they got Kepler, I mean, you had to bring him up.
Hopefully he's not watching.
You had to bring him up. Well, like, Kepler to me is Joey Gallo, but he was never on the Yankees, and he annoys me as much as Joey Gallo did when he was on the Yankees.
So he's Joey Gallo with less power.
Yeah, I do not want Kepler. I remember Kepler had a good year. One year he hit like 30-something home runs at the break or whatever, and Twins fans were trying to say he was better than Judge. So, no, I want nothing to do with him. But Royce Lewis, hear me out on this one. You're not trading for Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis is a part of a package if you're going to the Twins. The Twins interest me. I did a lot of studying on them today, okay? Yohan Duran is the number one guy. Like, I know Joe Ryan's really good.
He would look great in pinstripes, by the way. Royce Lewis. Yeah, look at this guy.
Dude, I'm telling you. Like
Royce Lewis kind of looks like the cliche, like, the actor, you watch a baseball movie and they're like, oh yeah, this guy is the best player. And he just looks super professional. I think that's Royce Lewis. The big problem with this player, and guys, mind you, this is a 26-year-old. The problem with Royce Lewis, and this is the reason why Minnesota would potentially trade this player, is health. It's the exact same thing with Byron Buxton. Byron Buxton, the name's floating around baseball, but guys, Byron Buxton can't. He's one of the most talented players, if not the most talented player in the game. Cannot stay on the field. It's such a bummer.
He can't.
So much potential.
Although this
there.
year he is, and so is Joe Adele, by the way, who randomly has 22 home runs. I just found out.
Yeah, Michael K is. It's so funny watching those Angels Yankees series because he hits like 4 homers against us.
Once I pointed out, you just you can't miss it.
It's so funny. He will never let it go. He could win an MVP, and Michael K would be like, "This is so strange," because just earlier he was just. And mind you, Michael K is accurate. He hasn't lived up to expectations.
No,
but it's so funny because this year, I mean,
I wanted to trade for him last year. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course I remember.
I wanted him. Royce Lewis though would be a throw-in, right? He can still play. He can play third base. I don't know how healthy he would be.
Is he on arbitration yet?
That's a good question. No, there's well, yeah, I think
he's 26. I'm not sure.
He definitely is in arbitration, but like the question is how many years does he have left? I think this is his first year.
So probably 2 more after this, right?
3 years of control after this. So he's a free agent in 2029. I do this, and I do this with Duran. And then I try to get I try to get Duran, Griffin Jax, and Royce Lewis. That would be like my big package deal with the Twins. I figured out that's who I want. Stop falling for the Willie Castro propaganda out there. People have no idea what they're talking about. He is not a good field. Look, proof is in the pudding. You see all this stuff? He's not qualified because he was hurt. Well, he's actually starting to hit a lot better now.
I didn't know Royce Lewis was a nice glove. I didn't know that he had that in his game.
He's got a good glove. Well, that's why he got drafted #1 overall. They liked his glove. That was like the big thing. Like, he's also a good defender. Like, again, I understand the bat, right? I get it. But you're talking about a guy who, the arm strength is there. Look at the range, right? Look at the fielding run. Like, this isn't an upgrade. Also, he's not playing third base, guys. Like, you can't complain about Jazz Chisholm playing third base and be like, oh, well, we'll go get Willie Castro. Willie Castro was so bad at third, they sent him the outfield.
Can we put Willie Castro in the bin with, what's his name? Was it Luis Robert? Remember that trade?
Well, no.
We heard about that a month ago.
I want to give Castro credit. He can at least hit. Luis Robert can't do anything. So I'm going to check on him because I want to see if he's improved at all since last time.
That's actually exactly what I think our fans don't want, is to just simply trade for a bat.
Yeah.
Trade for a bat that can't move. I mean, DJ LeMahieu was hitting 266 when we DFA'd him.
Well, at least he was hitting. He tries hard.
But he was on, he couldn't, we should have put him on rollerblades, added in the field. So that's how bad it was defensively. Jake, I was telling you, I know you were liking what he was doing offensively, but I was saying, the Yankees' huge problem here, we can't field baseball. I know we're better than we were in 2024, but being better than horrible doesn't mean it's suffice. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So Jeff J with the 10. Jeff, thank you for investing in Yankees Unloaded. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Says someone will make Jason, I'm assuming Jason, spelt it like Jason Tatum, but Jason Dominguez.
I saw Jason Worth, but excuse me.
Yeah, apparently Jason Dominguez, they said he was named after Jason Giambi. Did you see that?
What? Then why does he have 2 S's?
Yeah, I don't buy it at all. I think that's totally, it's the most made up thing ever. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
we need defense now. So, but mind you, Jeff J is saying Jason Dominguez is a good player. He's just not good at what we need him to be good at.
Yeah.
We need defense now, pitching now. Trash Can, obviously not a huge fan of Brian Cashman, didn't spend money. And mind you, it's not him not spending the money, it's who's above him telling him how much money you can spend. I mean, guys, Brian Cashman is just the kid who walks to the lemonade stand. The kids don't have the money. The parents hand you the money to walk to the lemonade stand. So remember that. It's not Brian Cashman that's not buying. It is Hal Steinbrenner. Remember, if we got Juan Soto, we probably don't get half the players that we got this offseason, which obviously a lot of those players we ended up being happy with. So now we need to move talent. Same for Rice. We have an expiring Hall of Famer in Judge. Time to move. So Jeff wants to get proactive. He wants to be diligent. And a lot of people want to just wait or sell. And I just don't think there's much on this roster that you can sell other than of value. You're talking about most of what we can sell already is under contract, big time contracts. And the players that aren't under contract happen to be what? Ben Rice, Anthony Volpe, young players, Will Warren.
Yeah.
I don't know if selling on those guys nets you what you think it does, guys. So, Jeff, I would agree. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really want to get rid of Ben Rice, but if it's the only way we can acquire what we need, then I guess so be it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting there. And then Perry, thank you for the 2. Don't know availability, but Casey Garcia, Lugo, Esteves. Yeah, that's another package that I just absolutely love. Yeah, this is Griffin Jacks, by the way, because I don't think we've ever brought him up on the show. We haven't. You know who has? John Morosi. But I kind of like him. He's
Does it bother you at all that he's 30? It's not old. I mean, I'm not going to act like a 30-year-old is an old player, but he's in year 3 as a 30-year-old. I was just wanted to bring it up because I'm assuming some saw it. We're always looking at the age of a player when we're talking about the now and the future.
Well, with a bullpen guy who would not be the headline of this deal, okay?
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm going off of. You get 2 years of control after this year. So, he'll be a free agent in 2028, and he'll be 33. I think the Twins, I agree with Morosi. I think the Twins are a really good match for the Yankees. I think the Twins, I think the Royals, depending on if they trade, and I think the Pirates, those have the best or the most intriguing trade packages. I don't think the Yankees are going to bring back IKF, but to me, it's a no-brainer to bring back IKF, get Hayes, and get Bednar. It's really that simple. You don't need O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz also, going back to that, because I want to make this clear, O'Neal Cruz is overrated. I like him. I was rooting for him in the home run derby. He's a fun dude to watch play baseball, but he's overrated. He's hitting the same as Brian, or what's his name, McMahon? Ryan McMahon.
He's hitting about 210.
That, to be fair, McMahon is hitting in freaking Colorado doing that, but
they're both playing very unimportant baseball. They are just cardio.
The Pirates are going to ask for the moon and the stars because they are delusional and they think that O'Neal Cruz is this superstar when he's not. I'm not trading for Ellie De La Cruz. I'm trading for O'Neal Cruz. And I like O'Neal Cruz. And I like the idea if he could actually do it, Gary. And by the way, I did check this. Volpe's outs above average this year, -4. O'Neal Cruz at shortstop, his last year, -3, which was last year. So I would actually take a -3 with the potential that Cruz has. That said, I wouldn't give up top prospects for Cruz. And when people say, well, you have to give up Spencer Jones, no chance. I think Spencer Jones ends up being better than Cruz. I do. I feel like
I think everyone thinks that. I think we all can agree that this Cruz situation, it's not trending the right direction. It's not like there's a progression. He hit 210 the year before that, and then now he's hitting 235. It's not that great, but it's still a progression. No, it was 230, and then now it's 212.
And again, he hits missiles, but it's at the same time, dude, he hit 16 home runs this year. He had 21 last year.
So did Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo hit missiles. Even for the Yankees, he was hitting missiles. You know what was the problem? He was rarely hitting them.
Yeah.
So if someone says, "Hey, I do it really well. When I do it, I just don't do it often." Isn't what we're looking for more consistency, a higher baseline? This makes no sense. Savant be damned here. I'm looking at whiff percentage, K percentage.
I'm right here. This is where I'm at. And I just don't, I'm not going to give up top dollar. I'm not going to give up top prospects. I'm not going to give up the farm for O'Neal Cruz.
I wouldn't give up any farm for it. I just wouldn't. I would accept him to be on the team where you can maybe see what happens with it. But to take on any risk whatsoever on a player that hasn't shown a level of consistency, the whole reason we're coming into the deadline is to solve 2025's problems. That's why we're here. We're not bringing in a dude hitting 212 who's going to strike out 211 times this year and be like, he's got potential in 2027. No. And Scott Ross with a Hall of Fame super chat. Thank you, Scott, for the 10.
Appreciate you, Scott.
Welcome back to Yankees Unloaded. Says
and this
the
is
Yankee
why we
advantage.
Went live, Gary.
Yes, very true. Yeah, good call. The Yankee advantage should always be the ability to compensate for a loss of player like Dominguez down the road by using the market. You have to give something to get something. No, Scott, you'd think that people would think, oh, well, I don't want to get rid of Spencer Jones. I don't want to get rid of Ben Hess. I want to trade you 6 of my bottom. Yeah, I want to send you Arias 6 times. Guys I don't think will make the big leagues or have an outside chance of being a utility player, right? Still value in that. I want to trade those guys, the scraps, and then I want Garcia from Kansas City. I want to fill the hole at third base. I want a good player over there, but they don't want to give up anything. They don't want to give up a Ben Rice. Jason Dominguez. We can't give up Jason Dominguez. There's no way. Why would we trade Jason Dominguez? Well, guys, if you want great players at any given position of need, you need to give up what is perceived. This is the most important part. Perceived by the other team as equal value. Are you going to trade Ben Hess and 2 names, Arias and whoever else, and you're going to start flipping for Garcia or flipping for a player that's better than Suarez? Is that going to happen? The answer is no. Absolutely not. So if you want to keep some of those prospects, then you're going to have to give up some starting talent, I'm afraid, or you're going to have to take a risk on guys like Royce Lewis that you're going to be buying low on. It's a risk. You're bringing guys in that it very well could not work. He could also get hurt, right? That's part of the reason he's on the market in the first place. So Scott, makes perfect sense. No one really wants to trade Jason Dominguez, but if you go into the offseason saying, man, it sucks we lost that talent. If it sucks that bad, turn around and sign Kyle Tucker.
No, that's true.
Don't look at me. And mind you, Kyle Tucker's a better player today. He's a better player in 2026. He will be a better player in 2030. So I'm sorry, if you're afraid to lose talent, I don't want to lose talent either, but the Yankees, the whole concept here is we're supposed to be the Yankees, and if you have to trade a player of high value, if you need to replenish it, go ahead and pull out your wallet.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely fair. And then we got Stephen A. White here with
I thought we had Stephen A. Smith for a second.
Oh, well, no, we do not. And then Stephen
Hell
A.
of a
White.
Picture.
Royce Lewis and J.C. Escara are twins. Wait, is that?
No, they look alike.
Do they? I mean, I guess kind of, yeah.
I kind of agree. I think they look similar.
I think every year. Oh, this is what I'll say, and I appreciate the support, Steven. This is what I'll say. Every year since I was little, okay, I always felt like, regardless of sport, you should always take a flyer on a guy a team isn't as high on anymore, but was a huge pick, okay? It was a huge prospect. I talk about this in football. I talk about this in basketball. And I talked about last year with Joe Adell, okay? I think the Yankees should have gone after Joe Adell. And I still feel like they should have. Well, I feel like the Yankees need to do it this year and go after Royce Lewis. It's a flyer, and it likely would be in the package. And I'm sorry, if they're asking for, the sun and the earth for Royce Lewis, then you just walk away. But if you are talking to the Twins and it's, Yohan Duran and Griffin Jacks, what's the worst that can happen adding Royce Lewis to the mix there? Like, seriously, they're just trying to recoup value. This guy's always hurt. I guarantee you the Twins would trade him. Guaranteed.
Randy Miller actually brought up a pretty nice point, though. I will add, and this will be part of the interview. I really want you guys to go watch that in the morning. He brought up the point that if the Yankees do trade for a player who's got control, let's just say you bring in a Royce Lewis. And mind you, I love that idea. It's not a trade that's going to cost us Spencer Jones. It's not going to be anything. But if we sent Spencer Jones in that deal, let's just say, we know we're probably getting Duran in some mega deal, right? And now, mind you, if that happens and Royce Lewis shows up to the Yankees and he's manning third base, rightfully so, the Yankees get much better overnight. You're gambling on the health, A, of Royce Lewis. He has to stay healthy. That's been his biggest problem. But B, if for some reason injuries become a concern or he's over there at third base and you're not really sure what to do with him, it does take one less spot away from guys in your system. Now, personally, I don't mind this. I think if someone's a solution and you have a solution at a given position and you have a prospect that you've had highly touted, people love them, people want to trade for them, I don't have a problem blocking a prospect. I just don't. Because if you have a solution, say at third base, you say, well, now I need a solution at shortstop. And you go one by one across the field. So I just think the idea that if I bring in a player, that you say, okay, well then George Lombard Jr., who I think you brought this up yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, Jake. You brought it his time of arrival, estimated at 2027, right? So you're talking about the year after next. Well, when he shows up, I think majority of us want him to be at shortstop.
Yeah.
So why would I want to sit here with a hole into 2026 when I want George Lombard Jr.? I want Volpe to toss the baseball to George Lombard Jr. and get off the field. And that's no slight. It's just a player I think is going to be better. And if he's not, the Yankees still have to go find another option. So Royce Lewis, I'd be shocked if the Twins deal him at his lowest. This is absolutely the lowest his value has been. And of course, Minnesota is always somewhat in the fold of competing. This would be a nice option for the Yankees. He solves the problem of defense, right? Peraza was supposed to be a glove, and he's actually still a glove. It's still solid. It's just not as good as it needs to be for a 145 batting average. That's the problem. He's a black hole in the lineup, and the Yankees can't justify that his glove, he's not a platinum gold winner. Royce Lewis, on the other hand, is going to help this offense, help it be less boom or bust, and he can turn around with the glove and be serviceable, highly serviceable. So this, Jake, could be really nice. I know about a month ago we were off of this because he was just flat out having a down year, but he's since turned it around. I think he's hitting like over 300 his past 2 weeks. So we will take that. I will take the flyer on this player.
It's crazy to think in 2023 there was a rumored deal that would have returned Brian Wu for Royce Lewis.
Really?
And now you could get Royce Lewis. I think you could get him decently cheap. He still has 3 years of control, but like I said, let's do it right now. Let's figure out a package deal to get Royce Lewis, Duran, and then who's the other one? Griffin Jax. Because
I would probably get Jax probably out of the deal. Because I just feel like it's not. Jax is going to have value, like high value, right? Mm-hmm. And I think my priority is third base and a closer, right? To sort of extend this bullpen. I probably put less in that Minnesota package to try and make sure I can land two solutions in one trade. And Brian with the super with the two, while you're pulling that up, says, does Jones even have a glove? Is he a good fielder? Yeah, earlier in the show, I was mentioning that Yes Network went out of their way to cover what the Yankees believe about this player. And it's also on the field. If you go watch him play, he's a great defender. Great at all three positions. So that's the type of player you want in the outfield. He's not going to have a problem in left field at Yankee Stadium, which is obviously a tough assignment. He has the speed to go with it. He's got the arm, and of course, he's got the power game. His only flaw, guys, is the swing and miss. So yeah, Brian, great question.
Yeah, what do you think the Twins would be after? Probably like Ben Hess, Elmer Rodriguez, Cruz. I mean, maybe Dominguez here.
At first, I'm going to assume they're going to be calling on Lombard Jr. I would say comfortably that if you can get Royce Lewis and Duran in the same trade, let's just say, Spencer Jones would have to be a part of that package. I don't want to trade him. I don't. But if you're going to solve two problems, you're not just getting Hayes, who's a glove, right? A great glove, can't hit really, can't slug, not going to draw walks, and a reliever. No, that's not what you're getting. You're getting a player who has all-star potential at third base. You're getting a player who is arguably one of the best closers in the game. Arguably, he's in the conversation. I know he's probably not but you guys get the point. He's a solution. You can't get two big-time solutions in a trade and then keep out your top prospects. I just don't think it works that way.
I think you could do this, and really, I think they have Royce Lewis a little too high, but this is what I came up with.
You don't think the control
has
for
him
Royce
pretty
Lewis
freaking high,
right?
Like he's higher than Volpe, and I don't even know if I would say that's fair because he
Wait,
doesn't
who?
play very often. Royce Lewis.
Oh, I think Royce Lewis is far more valuable than Volpe. With all due respect to Anthony Volpe. With all due respect.
Yeah, I just like again. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to grab him, but I just feel like the injuries, the durability is a legitimate question mark. But yeah, I mean this. So what this does, you don't move Spencer Jones. By the way, they don't have his value that high, so I went with Jason Dominguez here. Dominguez and Warren, and then you add Selvage and Arias. I think both of these guys are Rule 5, or not Arias, but Selvage, I believe is. And then you have Royce Lewis and Duran. I think you probably could get Griffin Jacks as well in there, but let's just say it's those two.
Okay.
What it does is you get an elite reliever. You potentially get a really good third baseman. And
I think we do get a good third baseman. I think if Royce Lewis joins this team, barring injury, he's going to be a really good player for the Yankees. I truly believe that. If he's healthy. And there's just a ton of value, by the way. Even if you're a great player, but you can't stay healthy, you still have a ton of value. Look at Giancarlo Stanton right now. Giancarlo Stanton effectively plays 2/3 of the season. He's a DH, so it bothers a lot of us. It does. It bothers us. But if he could play left field, serviceable, and he would go into every October and give you what he gives you, we would take that. Very valuable player. But you know what's not as valuable, in my opinion? A player who doesn't have a ceiling. The ceiling is very low, right? The median is somewhat low. Mate, you may be
Joe
cheap.
Ryan, good God. So that would be insane. Yeah, I mean, Griffin Jacks is pretty high too. They're all kind of in the same tier. Gary, I got to be honest with you. If the value is probably like if it's over 30, I would say the Yankees are not going near that. Like they have Duran here, and I don't even know if I agree with it. They have Duran at 25.2. They have Jacks higher, which that's
well. Does Duran have control? I believe he does, right? Another 2 years.
Yeah, I believe Duran does have control. And I mean, I'll bring it up right now, but I'm almost positive he has control.
Well, when Jack Curry brings up the Yankees' biggest concern with a lot of these options is control.
Yeah, you get 2 years of control with Duran, and then he's a free agent at 30. So,
I'm going to believe Jack Curry when he says that the Yankees are tentative on a number of players, whether it be about money. That was another thing he brought up. Money attached to McMahon, right? You're talking about over $13 million. You're not getting him for free. This isn't just a free flyer. $13 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, so you would have 2 years of Duran after 2025. Then he'd be a free agent in 2028. Royce Lewis, you'd have 3. Yeah, you'd have 3 years.
And if you make this
control.
deal, by the way, this is a commitment to Trent Grisham the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, also it gives Spencer Jones an opportunity as
Technically a lane. You can probably bring Spencer Jones up and allow him to compete for the job.
I will say it does feel like they might not have to give up this much because, and here's why, hear me out. I do feel like they have the Yankees rated way lower than they should be. And the reason I say that is LaGrange, like he's already getting calls. Like teams are calling about this. They're not
he creeped into the top 100.
Yeah, they're not just talking about him being like part of a trade. They're actively seeking this player. So if you had LaGrange there, I'm going to say he'd probably be at a 20 right now, probably even higher, like the way his value is. And then you add, you add Flores, depending on, do they see him long term? I don't know. And then you add somebody like, Selvage and Lane, like something like this. I also think this could get this deal done. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like the value's off on these guys. They're way lower than they should be. But that's what I think, Gary. I mean, it really depends. I mean, what would you do? Would you rather trade Will Warren and Jason Dominguez and maybe some lower tier prospects, or would you rather trade your top pitching prospect right now? And
I'd probably rather trade my top pitching prospect, because we just frankly don't need that much pitching after 2025. You have to imagine that if Luis Gil is not ready to contribute by 2026, right? If Cam Schlittler is not ready to contribute and be more polished by 2026, because you traded Carlos LaGrange? Yeah. That's going to be to your organization's detriment. It's going to throw you guys off your tracks. I just don't think so. I think based on what the Yankees have, they have enough in their system to accommodate for trading a big pitcher. Now, mind you, outside of LaGrange there, I don't think there's enough value. It's just my opinion on it. I think that when you do make trades, especially if you're the Twins, and you trade your closer, who's one of the best closers in the game, it's not really so much about Royce Lewis, but when you do that, especially you're giving up a player with control, they're going to want something to look better than just trading for a bunch of minor leaguers. They're probably going to be looking for a player off your big league roster, and you have to wonder who that player is. It could be Ben Rice. It could be Jason Dominguez. And a lot of these teams, we've started to see that a lot at the trade deadline, asking for players who are already on your 26-man. And I respect it. It's not, this isn't MLB The Show. This isn't MVP baseball where we can just turn on forced trades. And of course, that's not what you're doing. But these teams want to win the trade. They want to feel like they've gotten back equal value that'll help them compete still in the now somewhat. And of course, prospects aren't going to help you do that. So yeah, I assume some type of name is going to be a part of that package if it does happen. But I will say, when we ask all these reporters, every single time, we ask them the big question: how many guys do you think are coming through the door? How many? And they're multiple trades. So one thing we do know, the Yankees are trying to be aggressive. This is a good thing. And I do see the super saying we usually wait to the last second from Ninja Hot Dog. That's most trades, especially for contenders.
Yeah, I mean, the 27th has historically been a pretty busy day for the Yankees, so that's Sunday. I think Sunday we see a trade.
Well, Sunday would be nice. Saturday we have a 10 a.m. game. Sunday, 10 a.m. game. We'll take a trade on Sunday because then we can go live. I'd love that.
That would be cool. I'd be down for a Sunday trade. And we're, just so everybody here knows, and Gary, they really brought it tonight. You give yourself a round of applause here. Are you serious? 418 people live right now?
I was shocked. It was an off day.
Yep.
I thought our audience had an off day as well. Remember, Jake, before this happened, I was like, oh, we could probably just do a pre-recorded show. But at the same time, we still have the Randy Miller interview releasing in the morning.
Yes.
So probably not the best to have two pre-recorded videos. So you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys for allowing us not to talk to ourselves. Yeah, Jake, take it away.
Yeah. So, this has been great. But Scott, appreciate the 5. The Red Sox traded Nomar and won a World Series. Almost anyone on this roster needs to be available for the right deal. I really, if they could figure out a way to do what I was saying, and then say they get Duran, because we heard 2 bullpen arms, right? What if it's Duran and Bednar? What if they do 2 trade packages? And
our bullpen is just filthy if that occurs. I mean,
Duran,
it's a
Bednar,
good bullpen.
But you don't get Hayes, right? Because he would be a starter, but so would Royce Lewis. That creates friction.
That's right.
So instead, you get IKF, who can also play third. And then you have one more spot because you trade away JC Escara. You got 2 catchers with Wells and Rice. No worries there. You go to the Orioles and you say, give us Ramon Urias to shore up Now we got a guy who's that infield utility guy, good third baseman, and he's on the bench because he's not good enough to be playing over Royce Lewis, but Royce Lewis is always injured where I got to at least have some insurance. If they do that, Gary, that's a really good deadline. And then, say in none of those packages you trade Spencer Jones, right? In none of those packages you trade Will Warren. You can send Will Warren and some lower ranked guys, maybe even Trent Grisham, to the Padres and get Cease. I'm just saying, I think it's possible to do that. I think the Yankees have enough to make these moves. It's just the year-old tale, okay? Is Brian Cashman ever going to do it? And to be honest with you, I think he's going to make 2 trades. I don't think he's going to go over that. He made 2 trades last year. So make of that what you will.
Well, one of Dylan Cease is probably the number one target for me in terms of what we have to give up for him and what the potential, what the ceiling is. If you trade for Dylan Cease and Matt Blake can't fix him,
then he's cooked.
So be it. But if you do fix him, it's Dylan Cease now. It's not Dylan Cease of 2025 of what you've seen. Dylan Cease has an argument, when he's right, of being better than Max Fried. I hope people understand how talented he is. He's sitting 100 miles an hour as a starter, and he gives big innings, right? He is available. So there's certainly some value there. And by the way, I wanted to provide some context because I know we've said this, Jake, a few times. We were talking about Royce Lewis. His value is perceived lower. It's not because of the talent. It's not because of the glove. It's not because of anything baseball related. He can hit, he can field, he can do everything. And he plays a premier position. Here is some context to that. He has never played, not one time, more than 82 games in a season. So, mind you, it can flip, right? This can completely flip. You're talking about a player age 26, doesn't usually flip. That's why it's a risk. But we look at a player like Giancarlo Stanton, who's the inverse of it. Giancarlo played 162 practically every year, 159, 160 games. The Yankees trade for him, played a full year one. After that, he's had injury issues the whole time, right? So we just don't know. There's no predictability here. You're taking on the risk. What you're hoping for is that the Yankees have potential of a ceiling that they can reach that potentially otherwise wouldn't be available with other players.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And of course, that's not really a shock, but I'm just, I've liked Royce Lewis for a while, and I see the potential there. And there have been plenty of guys like him in the past who just, he can't stay healthy. Well, guess what? Eventually, at some point or another, it pisses you off as a player. And then you start changing your whole lifestyle. And then all of a sudden, not saying it happens to everybody because it doesn't, but you'll see players all over sports that'll be like, wow, they can't stay healthy. And then all of a sudden, they could stay healthy. And now they take better care of themselves. Royce Lewis is another one of those guys like Jazz Chisholm who would be a star in New York if he stayed healthy. A star. He would. I'm not saying superstar, not saying Judge, not saying Ohtani, not saying Acuna.
Yep, clip it before he got a chance to explain that take. Yeah, clip it.
Exactly. But I get those vibes, and, and I kind of, honestly, another player, Moncada, I think he could be a star as well if he were, the rest of the year. I'm not saying like he'd be there forever, but he's another guy that I think would be huge for the Yankees if they went out and got him.
I wouldn't mind it. I won't bite off the apple. Hayes is my
number one, though, for me. Hayes is a number one for me. I understand he's not going to be a star. I get that. But I want to see Greg Nettles, Alex Rodriguez at the hot corner. That's what I want to see. And you're telling me I get to see that every day after whatever the hell has been going on lately? Sign me up. And I think he'd be better in New York than he is now. I think he'd be a better hitter hitting at the bottom of the order. I like Bednar. I think he'd be a perfect fit. I think the Pirates are a great fit. And I think the Twins are a big fit. And I think those are the two teams they're going to end up trading with.
I've got my trade package.
Oh, and I still like Kalum.
Of course. I want Duran, right? Now, mind you, who doesn't?
I do too. Yeah.
Who doesn't? You got to win the sweepstakes. You have to put out the best prospects. If you don't, you're not getting them. That's the way that this game works. If I can get Duran, if I can get Lewis, am I concerned about the health? Yes. but I'm trying to time the health here. 2025. He's not an expensive guy. He's just not. He's a throw-in on the trade. We're really out there to get a consistent Duran. That's why we're here. But if you can throw Lewis out there, now mind you, this isn't the first player we've traded for who has injury history. We've mentioned it with Jazz. And what did Jazz do? He started running less, right? He's not stealing bases quite as much as he did, trying to preserve his health, and go figure, it's working, right? So perhaps the Yankees can benefit. Dylan Cease is my next guy. I think if you can go get those guys.
I'm with you. I think Dylan Cease would be, because don't look at it like Will Warren. How much better is Dylan Cease than Will Warren right now starting games when Will Warren's pitching well? Not that much better, right? In a regular season
if Will
game.
Warren is pitching well, like at the beginning of the year, yeah, not that much better, but
it's the
when
postseason.
He's traded. But if he's traded to us, like let's just say tomorrow, we get Dylan Cease, and you imagine right away he's going to start working with Matt Blake, just the same as Will Warren did during spring training. Hey, I'm working on this sweeper. I'm working on this slider. My four-seam fastball is much better than it was. And guess what? It was. Dylan Cease, the second he walks through the door, he's throwing 100 miles an hour with one of the best sliders in the game. The analytics say that. That's the player I want. So I'm telling you guys, Dylan Cease would be awesome.
Yeah, Dylan. I will agree with that. I think if he can get back to where he is, having a 1-2-3 of Fried, Rodon, and Cease, or however order you want to put that, you feel a lot better in a playoff series. And then
you give up less because of the risk.
Yeah.
That's another part of this.
That's
true. When you get Dylan Cease, he's not coming for free. You're not going to be throwing. You're still probably going to throw a prospect in there. It might not be LaGrange, maybe not, but it's going to hurt. Still, you're going to have to trade something. It's Dylan Cease. It's a rental, but it's also a player who's struggling during a rental year. Very similar to Zach Gallen. The difference is Zach Gallen doesn't have ace type stuff. He doesn't have 101, 100 miles an hour, 99, wipeout slider. He doesn't have that. He's more of a craft guy. Dylan Cease, on the other hand, you throw him in our rotation. We've been looking for power guys to go deep into games. He does that. So when people say in the chat, I'm reading it, we need innings. We need guys who can stay on the mound in the sixth inning, right? Aaron Boone always in a rush to go to Johnny Lowe. Well, another way to get away from that is bring in a guy who has a knack for staying on the mound. Dylan Cease has that. So I'm interested in this pickup. I think it is somewhat low risk. The ceiling is just massive. It's a game 2, game 3 of the World Series type guy you can throw the ball to.
Yeah, and just real quick to wrap it up, Will Warren, who we talked about, he's on the hill tomorrow against Taijuan Walker.
Oh, perfect.
And the Phillies are coming to New York. So I love interleague play. There's nothing like it in baseball. Literally nothing like it. I like that they've expanded it too. The Phillies are 25-25 on the road. The Yankees are 30-19 at home. Pretty much very similar teams. Phillies got off to a great start. Yankees got off to a great start. Phillies had a rough patch. The Yankees have had a lot of rough patches, but they're only 2 wins apart. The Phillies have 2 more wins than the Yankees. I like the Yankees tomorrow. I think Will Warren pitches a lot better at home, I've noticed.
Easily, yes.
So I think he is in. Isn't it funny? Will Warren gets to go up against the Phillies, the team that he first went up against. That was he made his debut against them. So
yeah, I have hope for this start solely because it's at home. I think if it was anywhere else, I would definitely be worried. Will Warren, I think we're on the same page here. We really like Will Warren. It's just that obviously the stuff that he has, he can't get away with the type of mistakes that he makes. And he's young, very young pitcher. He's going to make mistakes. 2 years from now, he's probably not making those same mistakes. You have to assume that that's going to improve. And he was really good at the beginning of the year. He's had somewhat of a regression, and we assume he's going to learn from that. It just may not happen right this second. Hopefully tomorrow looks good. And Guy, thank you for the 2. Says Suarez isn't what we need. I could not agree more. Still an upgrade, but I agree. Imagine him next to Volpe. What are you talking about? Volpe's elite, I've been told. Anthony Volpe is elite. And they also don't care what we think. So
yeah. Yeri De Los Santos could be back tomorrow, by the way. So that would be a boost to the bullpen. I know he wasn't fantastic, but I liked him. 1.80 ERA, 13 strikeouts.
He's a candidate to take over those Johnny Lowe innings. He's a candidate.
He is literally, he's not just a candidate. He is Johnny Lowe's replacement as far as I'm concerned. Like,
so you're a seller on Johnny Lowe.
Well, you can't sell something no one wants to buy. So I may get rid of Johnny Lowe. I feel bad, but
I don't know.
At the same time,
you can ask my mom. My mom doesn't want to get rid of anything. She always tells you she can sell it, even though it's just garbage sitting in her garage. So I feel like Johnny Lowe is like that hat that you have with dust on it in the corner of the garage. He is just not worth anything, and technically you could probably use it for anything else. But I would agree with you. I think Johnny Lowe's, unfortunately, we were rooting for this beginning of the year. We were so happy about him being back here and getting an opportunity to sort of right the ship, especially when it's about injury and not anything else. Yeah, it's a bummer. But, of course, we have to cover the player that you are in 2025 over the long term. Johnny Lowe has had opportunity, and some could argue more opportunity than maybe he deserves. Right. It's mainly about our roster.
Over Canely. Remember that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So, I mean, I know, like everyone always says, Canely only has 2 pitches. Yeah, well, those 2 pitches are working pretty well in Detroit last time I checked. I mean, I
wanted to throw somebody else on the screen, by the way.
Yeah.
I did see it in the chat. It was a member of ours, Yankee Fangirl for Life. Thank you for being a member at Yankees Unloaded. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for investing into this program. Says, I'll be there. The Phillies and Yankees. I was just about to say it would be a great series to go to. Go see Bryce Harper, the player who was always meant to don the pinstripes. Never happened. Sucks. But, yeah, it's going to be a fun series in New York. We better win. We're down 4.5 games. The time's now. It's no longer time to platoon guys.
It's right in front of us.
Oh, we were doing so well. Hour and a half into the show. Yeah. What do we want them to put in the comment section, by the way?
Well, first off, real quick, I want to get thoughts in the chat. Just quick thoughts. Would you wear a shirt that says third baseman yo? Because I'm very curious. Seems like a lot of people like that. I've never seen. Yeah, I don't know.
If they won't, I will. I'm sure that guy probably thought he was going to have a lasting effect, and long and behold, he did. He actually is going to become part of merchandise long term.
He's now memed in our legacy. Mm-hmm. So just let us know in the chat if you. Oh, we got an absolutely in all caps. Yeah, the reason why I highlighted him, because I let it go. It was like he disagreed with us. Totally fine. People disagree with us all the time. But he was like making it personal. Like, well, yeah, you're Gary and your dad play ooh. Like, and it's like, what? What does that have to do with what you're trying to say? Well, I know you're used to it, but still. So
I am very used to it. It's just, if people can't control you, they will treat you like the mat in front of their door. That's just the way that some people were raised. And most people aren't like that. I know that it's easy when you look at social media to think that everybody just sucks. But when you start a YouTube show like we did, you start to notice that more people are pleasant than you think. So
it is true.
Yeah. I don't worry about the what does his name say? The losers and the haters.
Oh yeah.
It's the funniest tweet of all time.
A lion does not entertain the opinion of a sheep. That's just, I think Tyrion Lannister said that.
Unless you're going to make merchandise, then you do.
That's true. So, yeah, we'll see if people are actually interested in that. I want my yo on the back in red. Okay, what do we want to put in the comment section? Let's see. We've asked about when Spencer Jones will be called up before, so we're not going to do that.
Love you too, Mom.
Aw.
How many moms listen to their son's podcast every night for 2 hours?
My mom actually does listen to all our shows. She's just not live.
Yeah. Most parents will just share it for the first week and then it becomes like a garage project. But no, my mom actually watches. I forced her into Yankees baseball.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I guess I'm all right. I got it. Simply put, you get trade packages for the Twins, the Pirates. Who's the other one? Twins, Pirates. Royals.
Oh, yeah. What about the Padres?
Well, who's the package? It's just Cease.
Oh, it's not really a package.
I mean, like
they
a
need
big,
an outfielder. Yeah, because
So-
they just. Yeah, okay, I see.
So type which package you would want. And you don't have to choose from what we would do. You just tell us what you do. So drop the package, like the team, and then who you would trade for. Like it's that simple. So
Yeah,
we'll get
gotta
an
be
idea.
a multiplayer package. It don't tell
At
us.
least-
Mind you, I love the
least
Cease trade as
two.
much as
I
anybody.
would prefer 3, but
I would agree with that, but give us at least 2 players on a team that you put together in a package, and maybe you can also, if you want to go a step further, drop in the same comment, which players you think we would have to surrender to acquire those players. I think that's always super interesting because everyone thinks you're going to sell trash for someone's treasure. It doesn't always work that way. It's got to hurt, especially if you want to get much better at the deadline. So drop all that in, and of course, guys, I want to remind you, we are dropping Randy Miller's interview tomorrow morning.
8 a.m.
Do not forget that.
Sharp.
Yeah. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe. We are giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice. No nonsense, no garbage t-shirt. It's not going to be any of that. It's going to be a jersey, an honest jersey of your choice. We can't wait to give it away. Of course, we want to grow and get to 10K. That'd be great. Anything else, Jake? Just the trade
That's
package.
it.
And
I'm
like
just
the
gonna
video.
break my wrist. It's all good.
Oh, heck yeah. Like the video.